Ahoy hoy.
You hung up on me.
Because you were being weird.
What's that noise?
Popcorn?
You're making popcorn?
Uh-huh.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
Well, I'm about to watch a video.
Really? What?
Some scary movie.
Do you like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, I guess... Oh, An Inconvenient Truth.
Mine's Money Playing with Kelsey Grammer.
Ooh, that is a good one.
True. I'm getting off track. What's your name?
Why do you want to know my name?
Because I want to know who I'm looking at.
Listen, asshole.
No. You listen, Casey, you little bitch. If you hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish. Understand?
How do you know my name?
I'm coming in.
Owie.
Who's the bitch now?
Horror movies don't work with a Walther.
Your popcorn's burning, bitch.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, guess who gets to sit back at this desk again? And I even have a sign.
Yeah, nice sign.
It's in rainbow colors.
Kick-ass sign.
Steven, did you get your voice back?
No, you bitch.
Oh, wow. That's violent. Threats already at the start of the show.
Hey, look at me.
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
You've got this.
I do? No, you
Small it down.
No, you have throat cancer. I don't. I'm fine. I can speak.
Sure.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Obviously, Steven is going to be sitting in third chair for us today. Having a little bit of, some stuff in your throat, making it a little bit more difficult for you.
I'm dying.
No, I don't think you're dying. I mean, maybe one can hope.
Or monkeypox.
I don't think it's I don't think you want to declare that you have monkeypox. That's not something that you would say. Maybe the sign is more fitting for you.
Started it.
I did start this. That's true. The show is off to a fantastic start. So thanks for joining us, guys. Obviously, Steven already, he's going to be here. He's going to be chiming in on a lot of stuff today. He can still talk. His voice is not gone, unfortunately. But Dave, hi. How are you? Sitting over in my chair this time. I like
Ahoy,
it.
I'm good. How about you?
I am doing well. So are you ready for a good show?
To center myself.
Trying to,
Am I
it's
sexy?
difficult. You've got the fisheye lens there. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I gotta.
Try not to look weird over there.
I won't. I'm pretty.
Seat height adjusted accordingly.
Yes, I put the seat up as high as it could go and added a booster.
Booster. That's,
Yes.
Phone books is what we actually put in there. This is going to happen all show.
That was my grandfather's last words.
Yes.
You were a disappointment to him.
It was more laughing.
You, Grandpa.
More laughing at you than for you. Steven, how are you doing today? I know you're without that. I mean, come on. Oh, well, that's weird.
All right, I'll do my best. We got this for the Halloween Spooktacular for next week, which we should probably announce for one of the
that's
costumes.
happening.
But I was like, you know what? We have it. We should use it.
Yeah, well, Monday, so everybody's going to be in costumes for Monday. The Spooktacular, sometimes we've done those live in the past. We're not doing a live, but we're doing our normal live show here, but it's not going to be normal in that we'll have costumes on. I fear costumes when it comes to this place because of things like that.
We don't tell you what we're going
The
to
sign that is all rainbow colors.
I'm sure you can guess.
It's a Christian reference. It just means that God promised he wouldn't destroy the world by water again, but it was hijacked, so whatever.
Yeah, that's what it's. The amazing
Anyway,
Technicolor dream coat.
That was the true meaning behind it. Listen, I'm going to go with the original meaning, okay? Not the stolen one. We're going to get to some fun stories today. And, first off, we're at San Francisco. They're spending a whole lot of money on a toilet that's probably just going to be crapped on the floor. Yes, exactly.
I thought the toilet was called San Francisco. It used to be Oakland.
That's a fair point. It's easy to confuse. They actually want you to do the defecation inside of a room now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. Ted Cruz was on The View. I think that probably got a little bit spicy. I don't know why they would invite him. They don't like him.
Hey, I don't know. Hey, do you guys know this? Dave, I don't know if you're aware that Anna Navarro, she used to be a Republican.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No way.
No, she mentioned.
How'd you find that out?
You sure?
Well, she let us know.
Every time she speaks.
Yeah, she has no choice.
She goes to McDonald's to order. And I used to be a Republican. Can I get a McGriddle?
She has to.
No? Yeah,
She has to.
Contractually obligated.
Yes.
To
She has
do
no
that.
choice.
For the View. So that'll be fun.
And she's like, I see, because that's really the only Spanish she knows.
So, yeah.
¿Dónde está mi integrity?
Yeah. Mi nombre es Ana.
No me gusta.
No me
El
gusta.
former Republicano.
El former. I don't think that's how their language works.
I only
We
know
love
very
you.
little.
People who speak Spanish. Dave is not trying to insult you.
No.
One thing we haven't done, and we're getting pretty close to it, the midterm elections are coming up. We're going to break that down and give you all of the information that you need to know there. It's great. Republicans are doing very well, despite what Democrats tried to do throughout the month of September and really leading up to the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then Mug Club, we're going to get into the media ignoring certain shooters. And we've talked about this before. There seems to be a bit of a double standard. But before we get going, tell us, what is your prediction? This is our question of the day. What's your prediction for the midterms for 2022? There's a lot of close races out there. There are a lot of people saying that there was a bit of a blue wave or a blue resurgence coming. The numbers are not bearing that out. And maybe a little sub question for you, if that's possible. Do you believe any of these polls anymore that tell you that Democrats are doing incredibly well? How many times do the polls have to be wrong before we finally believe them to be false, right?
Right.
So I don't know. Let me know what you think. I do know this.
That's actually a good point, though. That really is a good point. If you're using a diagnostics tool and it's
That's
right,
always wrong.
50% of even if it's 50% of the time,
I know.
it's no longer useful. It really is. You have to say, is this tool of any use if it's designed to be a predictor and it can't predict?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like 12 of them to screw in a light bulb.
It does. Pollsters and little whiteboards that they hold up, and they're wrong with the numbers. Basically, you just made the case for weathermen not existing.
So stupid.
How many Anna Navarros does it take to screw in a light bulb?
One to say it used to be Republican.
Well, thanks for stealing my The only variance was I
fair.
had 14 other Anna Navarros, but same thing.
They would all just say, I'm a former Republican and never actually get to
too
the light
much
bulb.
alike
So.
for me not to know where you were.
All right, so Rebels with a Cause tour. You guys are on tour. And if you need tickets, go to louderwithcrowder.com/tour. November 12th, Ryman Auditorium, just the second show at 9:30.
I think there might be. I think we might have released some. Dave, did we release comps in the first? There might be like 30 tickets in the first show, but they're singles.
Yes.
I mean, if you're feeling lucky, try for the first show.
Yeah, we released some comps, but there's not much left for the late either, though. So I'd get on it if I were you.
Make it happen. It's going to be a fun time.
It
November
really is.
12th. It's coming up pretty quickly. We can actually gloat because the election will be done. Now, in places like Georgia, they may not want to call it yet. Maybe for a couple of weeks, they enjoy the spotlight.
Or if you're Stacey Abrams ever.
Yes, we'll get to that. It's a little foreshadowing right now. We also mentioned the costume contest. Send us your costume pictures. Post on Instagram, and remember to include your mug if you have one. If you don't have a mug, what in the world is wrong with you? These things are fantastic and girthy and wonderful. Tag your pick with LWC Spooktacular at Louder with Crowder. Do both. All right.
You're going to soundbite that, right?
Yes.
What did I do?
You said fantastic, girthy, and
Oh, son of a gun.
That's all we need.
Steven said something that was soundbiteable early, but we can't say it.
That's not relevant.
He didn't say girthy, though.
No, I didn't say girthy. How is a mug?
You've said girthy.
How is a mug throbbing though, Gerald?
I didn't say that part. That was, and
Mugs
I'm not
can't-
going to repeat it because that's a problem, and he'll clip it.
Mugs can't be vascular, Gerald.
Do you see what I have to do? Not only do I have to do the show, I have to dodge the attacks from these fellows here, and also the sound. I could literally get into an argument with myself. He has so many sound bites.
why do you want to have 3 mugs all over your face?
Yes. Gerald's the only guy who doesn't
I like
devein
them.
shrimp.
That's true. That's a fair. That's a fair.
All right.
That's a
then.
fair critique. All right, look, we're going to get into something that is interesting. I thought this was a bit. Turns out it's not. Katy Perry at a concert in Vegas this past Saturday night had a I don't know. People are calling it the Pfizer eye. You be the judge. Wait for it. Ow! Oh no, it fell again.
She looks like a droopy-eyed, armless child.
What do I do? Ow! You hear the audience start kind of going, oh no.
I love how she has. Did you see that, Dave? She has like a button on her temple.
She does.
Like it's Cyclops' visor. She's like, bing, beep, beep. I got it.
You can also wear sunglasses if your eye's been a twitching all day.
Yes.
It closed involuntarily.
And then she had to. Nobody's gonna notice this. They're not all looking at me.
But the pose.
She's the yin to Justin Bieber's stroke face yang.
Yeah, just.
They should go on tour together.
That's one hell of a face-off poster.
You can ring my
I'm gonna take your eyelid down.
Palsy. It just doesn't. That's not a good thing.
No, it's not. But
that's
look
a
at the
serious
pose.
problem.
Look here. I'm just gonna just an
sick.
example.
She's very sick.
Example right here. All right, I'm posing for the camera. Eye starts to close uncontrollably. I look away.
Yeah.
I turned the other way and play it off. As soon as she grabbed the mic, which, by the way, was awkwardly placed.
Yes.
I guess in the only place you can hold a mic like that, you got cans all over your dress. There's nothing you can do there.
Right.
She got cans under her dress.
And well,
Yeah.
she starts to walk away and talking to the mic, and it feels like the eye's back to normal at that point. Why didn't you just do that? Why did you stand there and let everybody take pictures and video of you? That's why I thought it was a bit.
I'm sure,
it's like, oh, of course.
I'm sure there's delayed cognitive ability. I'm sure it's not just the eye. So it's easy to Monday morning quarterback it when you didn't have a stroke.
Well,
Yeah,
and I wasn't on stage at the time. I get it. And
Yeah.
fine.
If you can feel it, wouldn't you make the other eye do the same thing just
Yeah.
to kind
Close
of
them
cover
both?
it up?
Yeah.
As opposed to just keep the one open and be like, nobody notices that this wonky Forrest Whitaker eye appeared out of nowhere.
It
She's
just
gonna go
starts
into her
bleeding.
panic room.
Yeah.
No, she
She dabs it.
Her one ear is just gushing blood. She's like, it's fine.
Totally fine, guys. By the way, I'm going to put that ear towards the camera.
Yeah. Her ear just starts leaking like Westworld.
Yeah. Yeah.
She plugs it up.
Yeah.
Actually, you know
Comes
what?
out
From
her
Mug
eyes.
Club, let's pull the one of the funniest things I've ever seen. We did this years ago. Remember when she face plants into the fake cake that she thought was real on stage?
Really?
I don't know that
she's
I knew
like, I
that.
kissed a girl and I liked it. And they clearly she wasn't planning on jumping in the cake, or at least the stage handlers. It's a fake
didn't
cake.
know, yeah.
And she jumps face first and her head just boom, there's a
that's
concussion.
right.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then she can't get off the stage. She tries to stand up, but she's on Queer Street, so she tries to stand up. She falls, and she's covered in frosting. And she tries to stand up again, and she falls. So she's so defeated, and she just crawls off stage.
Yes. It's like it's a fake cake. Why would it be a real cake? We have
That's
to take
awesome.
it on tour.
Do you understand the logistics involved with a cake this size on a bus? Doesn't work.
We're not all having cake.
Yes,
It's awesome.
It's a prop.
Yeah, we definitely have to see that.
we can't all be bulimic, Katie.
Oh, that's true. Well, guys, look, I've got some good news for you. San Francisco is cleaning up its act. They're actually going to build one toilet, a new one, right? And there's an insane price tag. You might say $100,000, $1.7 million for a toilet. And to get this thing done, it's going to take a little bit of time and cutting some red tape, and it is absolutely insane. Here, watch them.
11 are questions being raised over the price tag of a public toilet in San Francisco.
Why is she so surprised?
They are. Now,
Right.
according to the Chronicle, the single toilet costing the city $1.7 million
porta
will
potty.
be located near 24th
Like,
Street
is that
in
the
Noe
toilet?
Valley's main commercial corridor, where you find this porta potty right now. Supervisors say they got the funding from the state budget to build a restroom per request of family in the area. In a joint statement issued to the paper, the Park and Recs Department of Public Works says there are several reasons for the cost. That includes the cost to build in the city and
Listen
rising
to the last
construction
part.
costs for materials. The restroom won't be completed until 2025.
What?
Wow, that is.
These people want to convert us to a high-speed rail.
Yeah, that's just.
You need 2.5 years, call it, minus any construction delays, because we know this isn't going to be a smooth process in San Francisco to build a toilet.
Yeah.
Just to see what homeless person's going to squat in it.
Oh my
They're going to
gosh.
squat beside it. Let's be honest. They've made up their mind.
No.
Yes, exactly. By the way, just for comparison, the Empire State Building only took 1 year and 45 days to build. The Empire State building, which included more than one restroom in the building. Just to be clear,
also had like a casualty rate of 1,900 with guys with lunchboxes on beams.
But we got a lot of really cool pictures that we can put on the wall, like where guys are like sitting there. We're like, oh, that looks like a fun job.
When I see it makes me dizzy when they're up there on the beam. Yeah,
it doesn't make me dizzy. It just makes me like, that was stupid.
Yes,
I understand why our mortality rate was high.
But way less people died making the
toilet
Empire State Building.
Yeah, yes, than the toilet.
Oh yeah, but the toilet. Oh,
yeah, exactly.
They have to send in a new construction worker, a new plumber, because the next one comes out looking like Hellraiser with just syringes in his head.
Exactly.
It's not going to be
something again. Just being here.
I'm good. Got another syringe in my side.
What happened to the plumber? I have so much to show you.
Yes.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Well, look, in Florida, you remember the bridge that got knocked out by the Hurricane Ian? They actually repaired that in just a matter of weeks, right? So repaired an entire bridge. They were dumping stone and sand into the ocean. They repaired a bridge. You guys are going to build a toilet in about 2.5 years and cost 1.7. The Porta-John looked like it was doing fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand they'd like a nicer place to sit and squat, but I don't think that's really going to happen.
The entire city's a toilet. There's feces everywhere. Why would you build a toilet?
Well, I think what they were going for, Dave, and that's a fair point, is that they were trying to be a little bit more like Portland's toilets.
Yeah. But it's
okay.
It's communal.
There you go. Yeah.
That's for a single. It's for a single person.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
right.
You can't underestimate the communal aspect of crapping in the streets and shooting up fentanyl.
Yes, that's
a good
true.
point. Is it just for one guy?
Yeah.
Like only one guy can use the toilet. That's why it's a single person.
I'm willing to bet that one guy will claim the toilet as his residence and not let anybody else use it.
He's going to claim shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh no, he got a $1.7 million house.
That's exactly.
Built. Yeah.
I think with free Wi-Fi, it's a public space. So
good.
squatters' rights do apply. Yeah. If you haven't noticed already, this is a live show. We work without a net, folks, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes I'm in the chair. Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Check us out on Rumble, Podcast, Mug Club. If you're not a subscriber, you do get this mug that is other things that I have said earlier that will
And by the way, hit the like button and show. We got a lot of feedback, too, with you hosting. Both you and Dave, you both do a great job. Which, eventually I want to get to the point where we can help build some other shows here.
Yeah.
And show Gerald you love him. We have a lot of wonky stuff today. So I was like, this is probably a Gerald day.
It feels good.
Yeah.
I like covering some of the wonky stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good time. I like making fun of San Francisco. By the way, I used to love San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I would travel there to go to wine country. I'd always fly into the airport, SFO, get there at about 9 o'clock in the morning, go up to a couple of different spots, grab some sandwiches or something, go and sit and look at the Golden Gate Bridge. And now I'd just be dead. By that point, I would be dead because somebody would have killed me at several of those stops.
Well, now, thanks to Pfizer, thousands have left their heart in San Francisco.
Also, I don't like sitting on toilets of feces.
Right.
You know, pillows of poop throughout the lawn. You just kind of pick your own pillow to sit on.
These people are worse than animals. Like, animals use the corner.
They do.
Yeah.
These people just do it everywhere.
And by these people, I mean San Franciscans.
San Franciscans in
Anyone
general.
of all stripes and colors.
Yes, we do not discriminate here.
Dogs also don't shoot up into their last remaining vein in their paw inside of the bathrooms.
Right.
Dogs, if they're smarter, out of San Francisco.
I'm with you, though. I used to love that city.
Yeah. You know when, like, natural disasters are about to happen, the animals are the first to alert us? Like they should have known with everything leaving San Francisco that it was about to go down. But speaking of... I can't say speaking of going down because you'll take that the wrong way. Anyway,
we'll take it the
Ted
right
Cruz was on The View on Monday.
You can't speak when you do that.
I had to change directions there a little bit.
You'll be awfully busy.
I don't know why they invite him on The View. These cackling hippie people just want to have somebody on that they disagree with so that they can yell at him. And as is typically the case, Anna Navarro lets us know that she's a former Republican. And it went just about like you would expect it to go.
I read the chapter, and as someone who agreed with you most of your career, how do you reconcile your constitutional convictions with what happened on January 6th and trying to overturn the election when 60 court cases got knocked down?
There are a lot of folks in the media that try to, anytime a Republican is in front of a TV camera, try to say the election was fair and square and legitimate. You know who y'all don't do that to? You don't do it to Hillary Clinton, who stood up and said Trump stole the election.
They didn't storm the Capitol. They didn't try to kill my former
Abrams, who said that the election was stolen.
They
sat here
Did I miss something?
and said it's illegitimate.
The pygmy news.
Okay, so it's illegitimate when Republicans win, but not when Democrats.
No, you know, here's the thing. We may not like when Republicans win,
but
we don't
Please
go
tell
and we
us
don't
fat
storm.
photo negative of Diane Keaton.
We'll go to court. We don't do that.
Did I miss an entire year of Antifa riots where cities across this country were burning and police cars were being fired? Your position is the left doesn't engage in violence? Really?
You said
really?
Hillary Clinton didn't say whatever she didn't say. I'm saying to you, listen.
And she said it's sitting here, and you were fine with her saying it was illegitimate for Republicans to win.
She called Donald Trump the next morning, and she conceded the election, Ted.
Hillary Clinton says Trump is an illegitimate president. Hillary Clinton says the election is stolen from you. Hillary Clinton in 2002, George W. Bush was selected, not elected.
Oh, somebody came prepared to take on their idiotic arguments.
Yeah.
I think he did a pretty good job, actually.
Then Navarro's like, listen, I know you came here to yell and sell your book, but we're not going to do that. It's like, oh, gosh, just please, just like push her down. And
she called him the next morning. Yes, but she spent the last however many years going everywhere that would take her and say that he was not elected legitimately. Right. So 6 years plus going.
Also, she should have done it that night. Instead, she locked herself inside. So the fact that they're acting like she had integrity about it is complete nonsense.
She didn't even go out and give her concession speech.
No.
Remember that?
The interns were crying, and we were kind of laughing about all of this. I remember doing a live stream, and I'm like, I don't normally laugh at somebody else's misfortune, but in this case, I'm absolutely making an exception because you guys thought this was a coronation, and it wasn't. Make sure you hit the like button, like Steven said just a minute ago. Hit the like button if you are having a good time with us. It also pisses off YouTube, and if for no other reason than that, do you need more?
You know what, though? He made a mistake. He said Antifa riots.
He did, BLM.
When we did the change of my mind, we did Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. I said, you know what? No, I want to go with Black Lives Matter because people know that. They'll recognize it, and you can make the case anyway. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not which points can you make. It's making the strongest point and letting it sit. Because Whoopi Goldberg can't handle it. You heard her. She's like, well, when you said what I said something about how that was something, but what I'm saying is, you're retarded.
She's
well, the argument though always going to go back to him on race though. So you say BLM, it gives her an immediate trump card for that entire studio. I think that's why he went with Antifa.
Well, no, but I agree. But I would say, please, I'll play 3 or 4 moves down the road. Please come back at me with BLM being a legitimate organization. Oh, you mean BLM that's founder bought houses with the money instead of actually using it to help out the cause that she was supposed to be representing? Like, I would have just been ready to hit that right in the face. Yeah,
all the founders bought houses.
Well, look, they had a lot of money. They're not going to have the
Black
toilets
Lives
in
Matter
San Francisco.
subdivision.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the left is always going to argue that Ted Cruz is wrong in bringing up the riots because they had nothing to do with the elections, right? Of course, the Antifa riots had nothing to do with the elections. Rioting, burning cities down, threatening political retribution, having politicians threaten people and say they shouldn't be out of the streets, that's not in any way, shape, or form trying to impact future elections or current people in the White House. Oh, yeah, that's right. They actually did protest outside of the White House, and they were doing stuff that looked very, very similar to January 6th. Watch the end of this clip. That seems peaceful enough so far. Yeah. I'm just going to, we're going to have, oh, whoops.
Oh, boy.
You remember the barricades that were torn down at the Capitol?
Oh, boy.
That you mean that were open?
Well, in some cases torn down, but mostly opened. Yes, that's true. That seems pretty similar. Oh, they're going to keep that as a souvenir.
Well, they just don't like the fence.
Yes. Or the church they burned down.
Right.
They are anti-fence. Is that your?
They hate that fence.
That was the part.
Steve Martin. There's a fence over there. Get away from the fence.
Dave, it's a black fence.
Yeah. Well.
What are you saying about these guys?
That's why they don't think it should be there. It should be a white fence.
Were they listening to Stained or Puddle of Mud? What did I hear there?
I think that was Rage. Killing in the name of.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Killing in the Name of. You can pick that album up at Walmart next to one of their shirts.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the non-explicit version available too.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's mostly bleeps. Yes. That's fantastic. Yeah. It's hard to kind of keep the rhythm going.
Really gives the F you to the man by completely selling yourself out.
Yeah. Yes. You have lived long enough to become that which you hate.
And
you are the man.
Selling Hitler Light T-shirts.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
No, it's absolutely true. That's why we have the Che Guevara thing. And by the way, the socialism is for fake shirts. Of course, we can't sell. But yeah, the socialism
only in
is
one place
in live shows. But socialism is for dunces. It's people say, well, that's incendiary. Well, do you know what Che Guevara did? He was like Hitler, minus what some people would consider the charm. And I don't mean Hitler was charming or he was right. I mean he was able to convince enough people. And Che Guevara wasn't. So he was just more violent. And they found him like a bitch in Bolivia with an entirely loaded gun that had never been fired, saying, "I'm worth more to you alive than dead." And I'm pretty sure they killed him anyway.
Well, that's a fair point. I think
Happy
they
ending.
should have.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whenever a guy like that gets taken out, I don't celebrate. We talked about this.
I do.
But I am a little happy.
Yeah. Well, he said he was incredibly racist, too. Yeah. He hated black people. He hated black people because there are a lot of black people in Cuba, right? A lot of black people who speak Spanish, and he wanted pure blood Europeans, Spanish Europeans, and he executed. And he went before the UN and said, "Execute without trial." Absolutely, we will continue to execute without trial. Jeez. And he bragged about it, and a huge portion of them were black people. That's something people don't want to acknowledge, and not to mention gay people.
No, yeah, they never want to acknowledge that. And in fact, they were celebrating, I think, his birthday was
like his
few weeks ago.
Birthday.
His death day, right? Be careful. We'll get in trouble on YouTube for being somewhat happy. And I say somewhat because I don't revel, like, God takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked. That's what I mean. Not that this person wasn't evil and didn't deserve to die. He did. He was, right? But just saying that so nobody clips that.
But I take a pleasure in
it.
Well, you take pleasure in a lot of different ways. Any hole will do. Typically.
Watering hole.
Typically post-mortem pleasure, Dave, which is something you should seek counseling about.
Look, they don't fight it.
Yeah, rigor mortis makes it easy.
It does. All right, well, look, we talked...
just a scratching.
Trying to move on.
They move their chin and they're like, yes, whatever you want.
I think Gerald's sweating.
They consented.
Poor Gerald. Yeah. This is not fair to him with both of us.
It really is. It was actually kind of fun for me because it kind of unleashes the comedy in both of you. Neither one of you have to come back to the point at all. You're just like, well, hell, let's just keep going.
Hey,
it's funny.
Don't worry, too. Chat says you're killing it.
Oh, well, thank you, Chat. All of the monetary promises that I made to you will be paid quickly in Ethereum, so I'd cash it out quick. Yeah.
It's nice you didn't read the other 4.
Yeah.
Gerald
Dave's like, wow,
executing without trial.
Looking at that.
All positive, bro.
All right, so midterms are coming up. We said off the top that we were going to give you some information that you needed. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about it. It's in the news right now. We had Ron DeSantis debating last night. I think we have Dr. Oz debating tonight. Herschel Walker debates every single night, but normally with himself. It's very unfortunate. I like the guy. I want him to win because he's a Republican, but he's got some problems. And we're going to talk about some of these candidates aren't necessarily the strongest people that we would say we would want to have. But when it comes down to choosing between a Republican, even though a flawed candidate, and a Democrat who is going to push policies that the left loves, like abortion up to and including birth, sometimes you got to hold your nose and pull the lever for the Republican because at least they believe in your right to freedom, okay? So they're right around the corner, and the Democrats are, I think, because every single show is talking about this and everyone is panicking, I think they're getting a little nervous.
How about this? This is a New York Times poll, brand new here, asking voters what's the top issue on your mind this election. I haven't seen it this dramatic in a poll. Add the economy and inflation together. That is 44%. We're getting close to half of all respondents in this poll saying that's their top issue. Nothing else even cracks 10% right now. And we've talked about the Republicans when it comes to the economy and inflation having a pretty clear advantage in the polls. And typically this has been a pretty good indicator of where things end up in midterm elections. So this is the average of the generic ballot right now. And you can see the Republicans with a lead here. That is a 2.2-point lead for Republicans. Now, it's close, generally speaking, but we were here a week ago taking you through the generic ballot. And a week ago, this number was inside of 1 point. You had that inflation news over the last week, certainly didn't help the Democrats. And it does seem that as the economy moves to center stage, Republicans are improving their chances here.
So one thing that I'm very happy about is that the Democrats have failed to make abortion the top priority, like we saw. So one of our concerns, we wanted Roe v. Wade to be overturned. We thought it should go back to the states, and we thought more reasonable rules and regulations for abortion, pretty much getting rid of it in most cases, was what was necessary, but we also knew that we may take a hit in the elections because of it. So I'm glad to see that. I'm also terrified to see that 8%. So if democracy really is a problem,
the state of democracy.
Well, the state of democracy. I want more than 8% of people caring about it. They're like, well, heck, as long as I can go buy stuff cheap and I have a good job, I really don't care where I live.
Yeah, if the state of the republic was actually like its demise was imminent, I would hope it's more than 8%.
8% of you guys care about this?
I just don't understand why we just watch some nerdy guy make Madden circles about abortion.
He's like,
as
the economy comes back to the forefront, when did it go away? You tried to make it go away.
Always the economy, stupid.
Look what we got here. I rolled up my sleeves. 2.2%. That's the difference there. It's like, what are you down?
I'm a working man, just like one of you guys.
Look, I wear Vans with khakis. It's like, those are Payless Airwalks.
But
not the same.
But when they went out of business, I stole 200 pairs.
Well, look, inflation is really bad. They're like, well, the inflation news. I'm like, it wasn't the inflation news last week, you moron. It's been the inflation news for the last several months, okay? And Nancy Pelosi thinks that inflation really isn't a problem and that all we need to do is change the subject.
And the fact is that when I hear people talk about inflation, as I heard him there, we have to change that subject. Inflation is a global phenomenon.
It's what?
The EU, the European Union, the UK, the British have higher inflation rate than we do here. It's not,
really?
The fight is not about inflation. It's about the cost of living.
Is that not inflation?
Phenomena. Bitch.
You know, I'm not a math Asian, but I thought that inflation could impact the cost of living. Is that no longer true?
Well, correlation doesn't equal causation, but in this case, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I feel like she put her dentures in her highball.
So she's just sitting there saying, I taste gimlet.
Yeah.
Fix a dent and forget. The UK. She started to say words that didn't require her mouth to separate too much at that point. She was like, the UK, I'm British.
Yeah. She's running low on blood of the innocent. But it's a really lazy argument. We're talking about this in run-through. Europe always has higher inflation rates than the U.S. So you can compare it now, but that ignores that they always do. I was raised in Quebec, where gas was often it's more similar to Europe in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
If we were buying electronics, I remember as a kid, an N64 game would be $69.99. That's
much more expensive.
Yeah, gas would be 2 times the price. I mean, food was way more expensive. Sales tax was 14%. It was actually 15%, sorry, when I was being raised. So it really is a weak argument, but I have heard from a lot of people saying, well, how do we debunk this? It's always higher in Europe, and they've both gone up.
Yeah, those are the easy things to debunk, and you can say right now, too, well, it's interesting that you chose to go with the European Union, and you chose Britain, and you chose the UK. Japan right now, so if we focus on kind of these East Asian democracies, Japan has 3%. Taiwan, 2.75%, South Korea, 5.6%. So it's not the entire world, Nancy and Joe and Kamala, that's having a problem with this. And by the way, this isn't the easiest argument to make to win this argument. It's lazy in that it's saying, well, it's bad everywhere. Right. It's not our fault. No, your policies are contributing to this. Maybe inflation would be a little bit higher right now, right? Maybe supply chain things. Maybe that is possible. I'll grant you that for the sake of argument. I'm not agreeing. I'm not saying it is. But just for the sake of argument, you're telling me that your energy policies have helped curb inflation by making gas prices higher, by making oil go up in price, by not tapping into natural resources that we currently have here. You're telling me right now that it's okay to just throw more money on the fire to solve inflation? Isn't that typically what leads to more inflation? Is government spending?
Well, you're forgetting something else.
What's that?
Printing more money.
Well, we can just keep printing more and that won't lead to inflation?
No, because you'll have more of it.
Exactly.
You just keep doing that?
Yes.
Yes.
Why tax any?
What are we even doing here?
Just make it.
Can we get this printer ourselves?
You make more money, then you take it all back.
Yes. I believe
this is brilliant. I think we've done our jobs here. You know what? We're just going to end the show right now. I'm kidding. We're not.
Solve the crisis. Just make more money.
All right, have we thoroughly taken care of that for you? If anybody says inflation is high everywhere, you understand that in Europe it is almost always, if not always, higher. In the Canada. Did I just do that?
It's fine.
In the Canadian areas that are north of here that for some reason we don't own, they always have higher prices as well. And currently in other places and democracies around the world, they don't suck.
And they're facing war.
6.
What was that?
What?
And they're facing wars, by the way. Japan right now, I don't know if you've seen their build. I'm sure Ginger Snap knows this. It's the biggest building up of an arsenal, really, since World War II.
Well, North Korea is flexing their muscle right now. China's flexing their muscle with Taiwan, and Japan is basically like, okay, we hope everybody comes to our aid because if this happens, especially on both fronts, this is going to be a major problem.
If we keep shooting nukes into the water, though, we're going to make some monsters.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to.
I think that's what we do to get rid of them.
No.
Haven't you seen Project Monarch?
I know, but that's just nonsense. That's Hollywood stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's real.
It's the nukes that are going to make them.
I like it.
Well, Japan needs some help, so we should send them public school teachers.
Godzilla. I'll send you Godzilla.
Send them the true heroes.
Yeah.
You
all right, so
that when a killer whale's living in your house,
arguing over the clicker.
I like killer whales. They're pretty fun.
Yeah, they are.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
not
not
when
there.
they got hands.
I'm not. Well, of course, Dave. Not if they have hands. Fine. I'll never get the remote back. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Speaking of taking stuff back, a lot of states seemed like they were out of reach, even in 2020, and they're not. Suddenly not so unattainable. And there's a bunch of states that were doing very well. And obviously, Florida is typically a Republican state, which is fantastic for us. It's usually a pretty good stronghold. The home of current Governor Ron DeSantis, crushing his opponent, by the way, Charlie Crist, by double digits.
Also, the number of registered Republicans as a percentage of voters, it's up several 100,000 people.
In Florida?
Florida, yeah.
Oh,
it's a very stark trend.
Absolutely. He's handled the school stuff well. He's handled COVID very well. He probably even more than Texas had policies that benefited local business, kept everybody safe, schools. By the way, he had some information on schools. I think it's in the clip that we're going to play here.
He also disciplined Chris' dog in front of him.
He did. Well, he was a bad boy, and he put his nose in it and used a newspaper. It was necessary. After the debate, though, on Monday night last night, it's pretty easy to see why he's winning.
Yeah.
You're the only governor in the history of Florida that's ever shut down our schools. You're the only governor in the history of Florida that shut down our businesses.
Lay up.
I never did that as governor.
Did you have a global pandemic that you were dealing with, Charlie?
We need to have somebody who is at the helm that understands it's important to listen to science, to do what's right, to utilize common sense. You don't just shut down at the outset, and then when it's politically convenient for you, you want to open back up to store political points.
Somebody pack the audience, jeez.
That's not right. It's not what the people deserve.
I think they're cheering for DeSantis.
Well, so he opposed having kids in school. His supporters sued me to keep the kids out of school in 2020. And how critical was that decision? We just got the nation's report card, the results from all 50 states.
This is
Florida, number 3 in 4th grade reading and number 4 in the country in 4th grade math. And if you adjust that for demographics, we are number 1 in the country in both. That would not have happened if we let Charlie Crist and his friends lock our kids out of school like they did in California and like they did in New York.
Boom. That's how you do it right there. You go straight to the numbers and say our policies resulted in better outcomes for who? Your children.
I would have added one thing. I would have, when he started, just say, is anybody buying this? Is anybody buying that the Democrat wanted more freedom?
That's a little bit more of Donald Trump in
but
it.
you should just say that. Lead it with, is anyone actually buying this? Like, that's what they try. Is anyone actually sitting?
You guys see what this guy said?
Yeah, he was the shutdown guy. Was DeSantis? No, you were criticizing him when you were gearing up for your run to say he didn't shut down enough.
Yeah.
It's really a lazy argument for them to say, well, I wasn't in power, and he shut them down. And by the way, a lot of people shut down for 2 weeks. We didn't. We did the Mug Club quarantine month.
Yeah, I remember that.
But we understood. We said, I understand why some businesses, because we didn't know. After about 2 weeks, it was clear.
It was very clear after just a few weeks. And so that's what he said. You closed down at the outset. He goes, you should have trusted the science. You mean when he had doctors from some of the most well-respected institutions in the world and he was kicked off of YouTube when he was talking to them and letting his constituents hear the conversation? You mean that kind of trust the science? I don't really buy your argument. Chris is basically throwing haymakers at this point, trying to see if he can get something going. But he also he wrecked him on just about every single point, and you will see some other clips that the media is trying to portray as DeSantis getting owned by Crist. It's a very, very big stretch. But he kicked his butt on the issue of transitioning kids.
You're a 15-year-old. You can't go get a tattoo in the state of Florida, yet we're saying you could get a double mastectomy. Of course not. It is inappropriate to do this for minors, and in Florida, we are not going to allow that to happen.
Boom. Easy enough. You can't go at 15. He chose 15. I would have gone 12.
Yes.
12 and 10, 11, that sounds a little bit worse, but it's actually what's happening, and it's a middle point. They want 5-year-olds to be able to have some of these things start to take place, changing your pronouns, which we just heard from the NIH is a really bad thing to do, right?
Well, a 5-year-old getting a mistake.
I think it was the NHS.
NHS, sorry, yeah. I get the letters.
All the acronyms,
Numbers, I'm fine with letters.
It's
just
silly.
Bad with letters.
I'm kind of retarded.
That's fair. One thing that I did see, though, that I wanted our researchers to pull, and they did, was this clip has been going around, mostly from NBC News, because Chris was asking DeSantis if he was going to stick around for all 4 years. And I just want to say something at the outset of this. That is one of the most insane questions that I've ever heard. Because, Chris, I guarantee you right now, if somebody came to you and said, hey, Joe Biden's not going to run, would you like to be the Democratic nominee for president of the United States, and you were still in this race, you'd be like, heck yeah, baby.
There would just
sign me up.
There'd be a Crist-shaped hole in the wall.
Of course. More power and something that I can't possibly do a good job with. I'm your man, right? So here's the NBC News clip and how they're portraying Ron DeSantis' answer.
And let me remind the viewers, he wouldn't even answer you if he would stay 4 years if you reelect him as your governor. You're running for governor. You're asking them to vote for you for governor. At a minimum, you ought to be able to tell them if you get reelected, you'll serve as governor. Ron?
Governor?
So we had the border that was in much better shape in January of 2021.
He pivots, right? And so they're like, oh, see, he won't even answer the question if he's going to stay and run. It doesn't matter. But here's the full context of the answer he gave earlier in the debate.
And I have a question for you. You're running for governor. Why don't you look in the eyes of the people of the state of Florida and say to them, if you're reelected, you will serve a full 4-year term as governor? Yes or no? Yes or no, Ron? Will you serve a full 4-year term if you're reelected governor of Florida? It's not a tough question. It's a fair question. He won't tell you.
We did not agree on the candidates asking each other
it my
questions.
time?
Governor, it's your turn.
Well, listen, I know that Charlie's interested in talking about 2024 and Joe Biden, but I just want to make things very, very clear. The only worn-out old donkey I'm looking to put out to pasture is Charlie Crist.
In political terms, them's fighting words. Yeah. Listen, he was just being polite. He was saying, is it my time? He waited for that, but every single clip that you saw in the media cut when he was standing there and not answering in an awkward silence kind of moment. And by the way, just in case you thought Charlie Crist was actually serious and genuine in saying that you should stay for the full term of governor when you're elected, he ran for the Senate while he was governor in 2009. So that would have been a very helpful piece
and
of
that's because he
information.
believed he was going to lose, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I need to find my next gig so that I don't get out of government work.
It's like being down on a scorecard, so you foul your opponents. You're like, I would have won if not for this damn ref.
Man, that's true.
Yeah.
That's what I do at the very beginning. I kick him in the nuts and get disqualified so I don't get punched in the face.
It's a sound strategy.
He's the Beto O'Rourke of
He
Florida.
is.
Yeah.
He is. I need another race to lose. Where can I go next?
I hope I lose it. I hope I lose it.
I think it's good that he didn't answer his question.
No, I think it was too. He
just don't
pivoted to
give it
issues
to
that
him.
people care about. He didn't need to jump down there with him because, of course, that was just going to be distraction from what he really wanted to talk about.
And this is something
the moderator pointed it out.
Yes, and this is something too that I think a lot of people, they go two-party system, and you really are. You do have to understand that, especially in a place like Florida, you are voting the platform. It does matter. Now, neither platform is perfect, but you don't want a parliamentary system, for example, like in Canada, where you can win the prime minister's office with only 30-something% of the vote. And the platform right now is Crist versus Ron DeSantis, the platform of abortion up until and including birth period, the platform of locking everything down, the platform of increased taxes, right? The platform of civil unrest versus DeSantis. And people, if they're electing him, look, if he is called up to run for president, people are electing his judgment, and he will decide who will be filling in his spot.
No, I think it's a good point. I don't know how it works in Florida if the lieutenant governor becomes governor, if they have a special election or anything. I have no idea. Florida, I'm sorry, I don't know your ways. But it's important to understand that Ron DeSantis is a presidential candidate, obviously. He's one of the front runners to be able to take that position if he chooses to. He hasn't declared for that yet, so it's irrelevant. Right now, he's running for governor, and he's doing a damn good job, and he's kicking your butt, Charlie. So maybe focus on your own election and worry about where he's going to go next. You, sir, are going to one of the many, many retirement homes that your state houses.
That's correct.
Hit the like button if that's what you would like to see for Charlie Crist, and make sure it's... We need like a more man. I'd like it, but it needs to be like
more manly,
a little bit more of a smash.
Yeah, I think you're
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
That's okay.
Let's go to one of the other races that we are excited about in Arizona with our very own Kari Lake.
Swing.
There's a good reason, Stephen. Make sure you keep your legs crossed.
Yes.
Kari Lake, actually,
put that trapper keeper on there and push down.
That's right, buddy. You know the game. Would you like some duct tape?
Does someone have a binder?
Hit it with a ruler.
That only makes it worse.
That helps.
It gets angry. 538 now gives Kari Lake a 58% chance to win against her Democratic opponent, Katie Hobbs. That's up from 38% just a month ago. She's actually inside the margin now. Takes I think it's like a 1.8% lead, or 1.8 point lead, I should say, not percent.
Remember the bumper stickers in 2016? Trust Nate Silver, 538. Now they don't like him anymore. The left, they're like, oh, he's too moderate. He's just a shill. It's like, you guys had so many the bumper sticker, Trust Nate Silver. I remember it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, her, it's not just that. It's just when it's convenient.
Right.
Right. It's not trust Nate Silver because Nate Silver is trustworthy. It's trust Nate Silver because right now he's saying what we like.
Right.
Right. And the mainstream media normally carries the water for people, but not right now. Kari Lake's opponent, Hobbs, has even faced criticism from them.
They're not going to look at their ballot and
well,
say,
she just
damn
came
it,
and sat
Katie
down.
Hobbs didn't debate her opponent.
She just came and sat down with me and answered my questions for a lot of minutes.
A lot of minutes.
Yeah.
A lot
More
of
than
Democrats
one.
are questioning
Counting
your
on her
decision.
hands.
And they're saying, you know,
Wearing open-toed
it's the wrong
shoes.
decision. President Biden's former 2020 co-chair said, I would debate and I would want the people of Arizona to know what my platform is. If you think she's as dangerous as you're saying to democracy, is it your responsibility as a candidate who wants to run Arizona to show and explain who their alternative is?
That is exactly what I'm doing right now. And there is a lot more ability to have a conversation with you without her interruptions and shouting to do that.
I thought that when I came on this network that you were going to support me and say that everything that I did was fantastic, but you're asking me tough questions, and I don't think I can handle that.
No.
Also, I think being meek is the best way to run a campaign.
Yes, especially when combined with my abnormally small mouth.
Raving psycho.
And look, I don't know a whole lot about her other than she's a Democrat, which is basically all that I need to know about her when she's running for governor in Arizona. But I like Kari Lake. I like what I've seen from Kari Lake, but I specifically love this from Kari Lake because she's pointing out the media's hypocrisy about the election.
I thought you were going to say figure.
Here's 150 examples of Democrats denying election results. Oh, wow, look at this. This is from...
Oh, wow, like she's surprised.
Joe Biden's press secretary. Reminder, Brian Kemp stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams. Democrats saying that. Is that an election denier? Oh, look at this. Just heard Republican Ryan Costello said it would be difficult for Stacey Abrams to win because she lost her state bid, but yet she's still claiming she never lost.
To this
This
day.
is outrageous. Hillary
She lost her
Clinton.
state
Trump
bib.
is an illegitimate president. Is she an election denier?
If she were a president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln.
That's fair.
And just to be fair, like her husband, we met,
Nice.
lovely, great.
Yes,
We're just joking, but she is a very fetching candidate, and
We respectfully think she's attractive.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And she's also doing a fantastic job. I will say this, Kari. I know your kids, her kids watch, I think, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So your kids are watching right now. I know that you were already planning to do that. But when I told you in the interview, make sure you point out that, I'm just going to take like 0.0001% credit for that because that is what I've been waiting for. Somebody to just come out and be like, oh, election deniers. We talked about, what was it, Kill Chain was the movie on documentary on HBO in 2018, I believe, with all of the Democratic people saying that, with Hillary Clinton denying the election that Ted Cruz pointed out
They
earlier.
specifically said that Dominion voting machines are easily hackable.
And showed it live.
Yes, and showed
Like,
it
here's
live
how
and
I
said
did it.
Kemp didn't win the election because Dominion voting machines could have been hacked. That was their argument.
And right now, and we may actually have it down here, so I don't want to hit it, but they're doing it again. Democrats are actually kind of seeding the ground a little bit, telling you that this is going to be a problem. But look, it's not just that Kari Lake is doing well in the polls. It's not just that she is doing a fantastic job destroying the lies of the left. The enthusiasm gap right now is something that is massive, right? And so just take a look. When you guys were introduced at the show, Stephen and Dave, when you guys were in, what was it, Phoenix, Arizona?
Yeah, it was like 5,000
Introduced to the show.
people.
Just
We
look at the
mentioned-
audience reaction to them.
We have Kari Lake, I think, here, future governor of Arizona.
That's a reaction to Kari.
Yeah. I could have just gone home.
It's done.
It seems they liked her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a sustained applause. Yeah. And Kari Lake had the balls to come out to a comedy show.
Yeah, I know.
Knowing that was probably going to be used against her. Oh, sorry, Stephen.
We went to Phoenix. I don't know if Dave saw this. I was in the hotel room watching Casino for like the 15th time because it was an AMC. And I saw attack ads against Kari Lake, and I was in them.
Yeah, he was in them.
Are you serious?
It was pretty
I said
amazing.
like something about the FBI, like defunding the FBI. She said, well, yeah, I do think we have a problem with our intelligence communities. And the attack ad said, Kari Lake, serious or seriously dangerous? And I was like, oh my God. Maybe it's me.
Have we played that ad yet?
I don't know.
Can we find that? Can we find the attack ad that has Steven Crowder? I mean, there may be a lot of them by now,
Yes.
but who knows? Specifically the one with the FBI and Kari Lake. And look, I know Kari is doing a fantastic job, but she's also helping people down ballot as well, especially in her state, right? So you've got Blake Masters, who has surged recently in the polls against Democrat Mark Kelly. They're doing a fantastic job with undecided voters, older voters, and women. They've all moved towards Masters in the recent days. And again, it's no wonder when you have somebody like that at the top of the ticket for your state, just kind of electrifying the base a little bit. But look at the groups. Undecided voters right now, independent voters, that is the group that Republicans are doing incredibly well. We didn't talk about that when we looked at the polling with what people were thinking right now. Those voters are going overwhelmingly, it seems, right now towards Republicans. So if we can keep that momentum,
And
that's
particularly with
fantastic.
strong candidates. It's a myth that you need to be a meek or a weak, really flat out weak, moderate candidate. It's people like the Kari Lakes. It's people who are actually willing to stand for their convictions. I mean, and I will say this with Kari Lake, we spent some time with her there in Phoenix. Like Kari Lake, when people say, oh, she was a Democrat, she was incredibly anti-war. And we were dealing with in the wake of George W. Bush.
And she said why.
Yeah, and she still is. and she's answered for it, but she is genuine, having spent time with, and by the way, a fantastic family, and even people surrounding her. She's a blueprint for a lot of people out there as to how you win an election.
Yeah.
Don't back down. Doesn't mean you have to be bombastic. Doesn't mean that you're undisciplined. She's disciplined, but she's also raw in the best of ways.
Yeah, she's very honest, right? And it's easy to just be honest and go out and speak to the media, but she has good media skills as well.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, obviously, this is obvious. It's incredibly important to have in this day and age, but Donald Trump had that too.
Yep.
Donald Trump was so at ease with the media and just kind of pushing their lies. And if he didn't know how to do that, he would just make fun of them, which was also fun.
You know why, though? Think about it. Donald Trump worked in the media and entertainment industry,
Yeah,
so we had
with The
experience with
Apprentice.
it. Same thing with Carrie Lake, right? She was a reporter. A lot of conservatives, because they're rejected by media and the entertainment industry, they don't get that kind of experience.
Yeah.
So these are examples of people who do, and you see when they know how to prepare, when they know the arguments from the left, from people in the media, but I repeat myself, before they're made, they're able to be effective. It is a blueprint on how the Republican Party needs to move forward. It's strong conservatives who stand by their convictions and will speak directly to the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and that skill alone is what took him from being kind of a joke candidate to becoming the president.
Yeah.
I made fun of him.
That skill
not,
itself.
Yeah, not just him. I made fun of his candidacy. I didn't think it was legitimate at first.
Nobody
I was like,
did.
I didn't think he was serious. I thought it was just a publicity stunt, and I made fun of that, not him necessarily. But I was like, there's no way. I even told you, I was like, he'll be gone by October. September. I don't even remember when we were talking about it. I was like, he'll be gone.
Not.
And you were like, no. He's in it for the long run.
Yeah,
but apparently every election has been legitimate except for his.
Just that one?
No, you've got it.
See?
Seems to be the point.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Let me put a finer point on it. Every election that Democrats win is legitimate.
That's legit.
Yes.
Every election that they don't, or every election that they think they might not, will be preemptively called illegitimate.
That's right.
Just to make sure, just to cover all the bases.
We should change the term from put a finer point on it to put a Carrie Lake point on it.
Here.
Even if it's...
Is she fine?
She's fine.
I think her husband is now getting on a plane. All right, so during the debate, Masters was asked if Biden was the legitimate president. And like we said, being direct, being ready to go, having a little bit of media training goes a long way. Check out his response.
Is Joe Biden the legitimately elected president of the United States?
Joe Biden's absolutely the president. I mean, my gosh, have you seen the gas prices lately?
Legitimately
There's no doubt. I'm not trying to trick you. He's duly sworn and certified. He's the legitimate president. He's in the White House. And unfortunately for all of us.
I'm not trying to trick you. And by the way, it's bad news.
Yeah.
Not a joke.
That was pretty good. Why did they have two signers, by the way? Did you see that? There were two signers there for
sign language?
Was it one? Was it for crosstalk maybe? Like where the moderator was talking?
I'm looking at a small picture. Multilingual signing?
Yeah.
In the gas prices lately?
Legitimately
There's no doubt.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I'm not trying to trick you. He's duly sworn and certified. He's the legitimate president. He's in the White House. And unfortunately for all of us.
Did she just wave? Yeah. Was that like, hi, Mom?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody's signing in Spanish.
Are they really?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. That was a good answer. I would have run with that and been like, well, yes, thank you. That sounds very good. Yes, it is Arizona. They do have a large Hispanic population. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's just no integrity anymore, so they have to have several signers for everybody interrupting each other.
Yes. Do the signers actually get into a fight if there's like a heated discussion? Because you can only communicate that they're actually fighting with words if you use your fist, if you can't use words.
Faster.
One of the signers gets a folding chair.
Yeah. This turns into the WWE.
Yeah, the ref's looking away.
Exactly. Well, look, in Georgia, we understand the race here. You're going to want to look away from this person, Stacey Abrams, who's the president of Earth, by the way. That is the highest honor. I think we should call her Madam Earth President.
No, it's president of dirt.
Of dirt.
Yes.
Yes. I don't think that's true. So the person that she still thinks is the illegitimate governor of Georgia is kicking the crap out of her. Brian Kemp crushing her by 7.5 points in the RCP polling. Abrams is actually already preemptively, because she knows she's going to lose, refusing to concede her inevitable loss.
You refuse to concede and say that you lost. Do you stand by that decision today?
Absolutely. The election was not fair. The process was not fair.
You know what? I'm sorry. That doesn't seem right.
Gerald, the label clearly says 2019.
You know what, guys? Look, that's my bad. I don't get to sit in this chair that often. Sometimes I make mistakes. That was when she didn't concede the election that she lost in 2018 and still has not conceded that election to this day.
Right, never.
Make sure, guys, hit the like button again. It helps us out. We love it, and you like hearing.
And comment below other examples because we're going by the ones off of the top of our head. I'm sure there are other examples of them.
Oh, there's plenty.
There's the Al Gore example.
Well, but so she's got a new. Well, it's kind of a new old trick that she's pulling. She's saying that a Republican, by God, is racist. I've never heard that argument before, but it's a new one that the left is using against Republicans, and that he has racist policies that are meant to keep her voters from being able to vote, and that he's suppressing all of the voters that would absolutely turn out and make her win, and it's unfair what he's doing.
It's terrible.
The current governor said it in his primary debate. He said that the election was free and fair. He also said he was frustrated by the results, and that's what led him to pass laws to make it more difficult to vote absentee, made it more difficult to use drop boxes for people who have on-call schedules, for folks who can't get somewhere from 9 to 5. They now have a much more difficult time. 1.9 million Georgians will be affected. He said that that's why he cut off funding. He won't allow the county elections officials to seek outside money to shore up the lack of money they receive from the state. That's why he made it illegal for people to get water and food and lines that in the state of Georgia have been up to 8 hours long.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, first off, we covered this. I'm sorry. Every time it happens, I don't want to get distracted by it, but yes, you can get food. Yes, you can get water. You just can't get vote for Stacey Abrams water handed out in line. It's called electioneering. You're not supposed to do it. And so that's what they were making sure didn't happen. And
Plus
by
she
the
was
way,
handing out corn syrup.
you want to hand out Funyuns? That's on you. That's fine, right? But in Georgia this year,
tray of donuts. There's none left.
Is this the licked donuts by what was?
Why is this water so? Why is it so viscous
weird.
from Precious's understudy?
Why are you? Yeah. They actually broke the record for first day early voting this year, and that's twice what they had in 2018. So if Kemp is trying to suppress the vote, he's doing a very bad job at it. He needs to do something else. You can hand out Yoo-Hoos. In fact, I'll take one if you've got it.
It's not chocolate milk. It's not soda. It's something in between.
I put liquor in it.
Yeah.
Was that not a real offer? That sounded fantastic.
I know. I wish I had Yoo-Hoo now.
I hate you.
Too. I've never had a Yoo-Hoo ever.
Really?
We didn't have it in Canada.
Well, that's why Canada sucks.
I need to try it. Is it good?
No.
I mean, it's okay. As a kid, yes, it's fantastic.
Abrams begs to differ.
It's a ghetto chocolate milk.
It really is. Yes.
When you grow up, it's called a Kahlua.
Mama wants some more of our Yoo-Hoo. All right, look,
Gonna drive Yoo-Hoo to school.
That's a really bad idea, moms. Don't drink and drive your kids to school.
So it's okay. It gets mostly absorbed.
Yeah.
It's just,
it takes me a lot to be legally over the limit.
Yes.
It's just a mimosa in the morning. Look, Kemp actually addressed the claims of voter suppression in his debate with Abrams, and didn't go well for Abrams.
The Miss Abrams is going to do a lot of attacking of my record tonight, because she doesn't want to talk about her own record. In 2018, in the governor's race, we had the largest African-American turnout in the country. She said that Senate Bill 202, our recent Elections Integrity Act, what we passed 2 years ago, would be suppressive in Jim Crow 2.0. Just this past May in our primaries, we again had record turnout in the Republican primary and the Democratic primary. In Georgia, it's easy to vote and hard to cheat.
There you go. That's how you do it. And by the way, she had rested defeating face.
Yes,
right?
she did. Yes.
She was just in a defeated pose.
Yeah, inside her head, she's going, "Oh shit!
Oh no!"
I will say this though. At what point, Democrats would always say, "Oh, if we increase turnout, we win."
Right.
Well, this is obviously the strategy right now for Republicans.
A lot more
to increase turnout. There's a lot more turnout. What Democrats mean, what the left means, is if we increase turnout without any kind of verification, we win. They mean people who aren't citizens. They mean people who maybe aren't eligible to vote. When you have a legitimate voting process, and I don't think that identification is an unreasonable qualification to vote. Voting goes up, and it's also because there's value. Yeah. If something's just, you can mail in vote whenever, guess how I still have health insurance mail that's on my office desk. I think it's from 2017.
Well, I mean, we get so much stuff in the mail, and the mail is so easy to rely on to make sure things actually get delivered on time, right? We don't have any problems with stuff getting lost in the mail. They've done study after study on mail-in voting, and they show that it actually undercounts the vote because there are so many that are done either late, they're done inappropriately, and so they're not counted as votes, or they're lost in the mail one way or the other, going to them or actually coming back.
Except in 2020, where every single vote counted,
except for and look, free and fair election, guys, right? The results in Georgia were 100%, 110% accurate, right? It's the most accurate we've ever seen.
Ever.
Except when we actually called into question Georgia's vote and they did a recount, they found more votes. Did you guys remember that they found literally thousands more votes that weren't included in the original tally? And they're like, that's our fault. I'm so sorry about that.
There's so much freeness and fairness,
Yes.
I almost can't even.
Well, sometimes you have to bring in the votes later in a cooler.
Yes.
Well, camera equipment, Dave.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Let's make sure that we're clear on that. Free and fair elections include camera equipment. Cameras have a right to vote, too.
I meant voting brand camera equipment.
That's true, yes. Yeah. Look, in the Senate race, Herschel Walker is actually, for all of his faults, Herschel Walker is actually statistically tied with Warnock, right? And remember, Warnock's victory, and Donald Trump did a lot to make this happen. I think he pushed so hard that people kind of went Democrat when maybe they wouldn't have. His victory in the 2020 runoff election was what ended up giving the Democrats the Senate, and gave them the opportunity to, create hell all around you throughout the country.
Yeah.
But we're doing our best to take it back. And in Pennsylvania, the latest Insider Advantage poll has Dr. Oz tied with John Fetterman, and that's pretty significant because he was down by 13 points.
How many assholes can you fit in a room?
That's true. I'm not a fan of Dr. Oz.
No, that was a screw up.
I don't know who anybody.
I mean, he's also been on the wrong side of transitioning, young people too. Like it's you are picking the lesser of two evils, but
you are.
I don't envy you guys.
No, I don't at all. And again,
Well,
this is one of those
Oz, like the TV show.
Yes.
Some weird stuff going on there. It's like, welcome to Oz, bitch.
Oh, jeez.
Making some toilet yoo-hoo.
Whether you want it or not.
I'm here to make you a lady.
Oh, boy. All right. I think you should get down on your knees.
I'll start with you.
It's just a skinhead rubbing him the whole time.
Speaking of skinheads, his candidate. I'm just kidding. No, I don't like him. I'm surprised that he's doing as well as he is, as unlikable as he is. But he's running against Fetterman, and this guy. I know he has some current issues, but he has terrible policies in the past, and that is what we were attacking. But he is talking a little bit weird right now, and has some Joe Biden-esque moments.
Yeah.
Abortion rights deserve to every woman, regardless of what state that you live. And
what's he going to make, a custom
the
chopper?
Eagles are so much better than the Eagles. Send me to Washington, D.C. Take on to make sure I push back against work to work. My name is John Fetterwoman.
Your dad hates you.
I love how somebody out in the audience said, "It's Fetterwoman in case you or Fetterman in case you forgot." Did you hear one person, just in case? By the way, he had a stroke, right?
Yes.
Joe Biden, what's your excuse? This guy's got a legitimate reason that he might have some difficulty talking, and people just kind of nod and go along with him.
I know you're going to get some more important, winning arguments, because I will say this. As someone who said several people, in my close circle have had strokes, I don't know that it's a winning argument to say he's unfit because of the stroke, because he could have largely auditory processing issues. I don't think he's completely out of it. I don't necessarily know from what I see that he's brain damaged. I know that he has a problem with that signaling from his brain to his mouth, but I've seen people who are stroke victims who actually
come back.
Well, yeah, who've come back, and I've also seen people who weren't able to. So if you think it's a strong argument today, it could be taken off the table if he recovers in a couple of months. It's relevant, but it shouldn't be the main argument.
Exactly, because when he isn't having a problem getting his thoughts to go to his brain to talk, which I know is a big issue, they're bad. His policies are bad when they come out and make sense. That's the problem that we have, right? He advocated for eliminating cash bail and also for releasing murderers. Well, I think he's also the guy who went and vandalized, what was it, was it a restaurant or a store where he kicked down the sign or something like that? He's a bit of a loose cannon, and maybe that plays well.
The guy with the shaved head goatee and American Choppers hoodie is a vandal?
What?
Absolutely.
He was upset over a meal? Is that what happened?
I think he's going to bring out your custom bike here in just a few minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look what I did to your car.
He's going to leave his wife for Dita Von Teese.
Right. Well, and unlikable Dr. Oz addressed Fetterman's comments, his record pretty well last week on crime.
The First Step Act had nothing to do with convicted murderers being released from prison, especially after they've been sentenced to life in prison. It's a whole different game. So when John Fetterman is asked if you could wave a magic wand, what's the one thing you would do? The one thing.
World peace.
And he says, well, I'd get rid of life in prison.
Well, I asked him that. He actually said it would be codifying Roe versus Wade and abolishing the filibuster.
Yeah, well, he's answered it the way I just described it in the past as well. And too often, John Fetterman seems to pay more attention to the feelings of the criminals than the innocent who were hurt.
So he's changed his mind, is what you're saying. So basically, whatever direction the political winds are blowing is what his answer is going to be when you ask him, what is the one problem that you would solve? That's essentially what she just said. And by the way, abolishing the filibuster, you think that's a good idea? You think codifying Roe v. Wade is a good idea against the wishes of people in states across the country? You think it's okay to take that back even though the Supreme Court says, nope, we can't do it. This decision was inaccurate. I don't think that's a good idea. And I think the voters agree with me. In places that you would be surprised, right? Of all of the states, other than maybe New York and California, of all of the states that you think would be pretty solidly Democrat and not turn, this one is one of the biggest surprises. Oregon. The news for Republicans in Oregon is fantastic, and Christine Drazan has a real shot to become the next governor of Oregon. And I know a lot of us don't pay attention to Oregon. What do they have, like 5 electoral votes? I mean, maybe 3 now because people are leaving.
Hot?
Well,
don't put them down.
Is she a Carrie Lake type?
I don't know if she's a Carrie Lake type.
Why wasn't Oz wearing scrubs?
Yes.
How am I supposed
if
to know
I was
as
a doctor, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I would wear the white lab coat, whether I deserved it or not, because that means
put
I'm
some
a doctor.
popsicle sticks in your your pocket square, something.
Don't
Put
you
in
have
some
to have the heart thing?
The stethoscope?
Stethoscope. Thank you.
Hopefully, Christine
the
Drazan.
kaleidoscope.
Yeah, and he could walk up to Fetterman, put it on his head, go.
Yeah.
Oh, no one's home.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, just echoes. That's all I hear. So hopefully Christine Drazan is going to become the next governor of Oregon. And for those of you who don't care about Oregon politics or don't know Oregon politics, there hasn't been a Republican governor in 40 years.
I think a senator in about 20.
Yeah, senator in 20 years, or state senate. Sorry, it's the state. I don't know if it was a senator or the state
statewide. Yeah, I don't know if it's state on a national level.
But it's been 20 years since anything really significant for Republicans has happened in Oregon. And Oregon's policies, I don't remember exactly where Portland is, but yeah, it's in Oregon. It's one of the crappy, like when we refer to cities that Democrat policies have destroyed, it's San Francisco and Portland. Not usually Seattle, though sometimes that happens for obvious reasons.
Right.
But Oregon is known, like I just hired a guy from Oregon, and I can't say what his name is.
Oh, no.
No, he's fantastic. He's actually a mixed martial artist. He fights.
You didn't hire my friend Chael, did you?
No.
I was going to say, he'd be a horrible employee.
This guy's fantastic. He moved down from Oregon, and he's like, you would not believe it.
Jet Li?
No, not Jet Li.
Oh.
Dave, in fact, that was strike 3.
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta go. So really quickly,
here's something important. They always say the opposing party, right?
Surf ninjas.
Was that with Rob Schneider? Is that what he said?
Yes.
Yeah. The opposing party, they say, well, they always do well in midterms, and that's true.
Right.
But if it's even within striking distance in a place like Oregon, that is very atypical. The story here is first off, in strong red states, they are getting even stronger.
Yep.
Right. Florida, Texas.
Yeah.
And then in reliably blue states, for the first time in talking about 40 years, they're looking at becoming a red state. The story here is the rejection, absolute all-out rejection of what happened with COVID and the Democrat policies.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't anomalies. This is a consistent through line.
And these are lived votes, right? People lived through the policies of these parties, and they're voting against it now. We have other states and other cities that need to do that around the country with some of the water issues we've seen in Jackson, Mississippi. I know in Michigan and Flint having issues there. These are Democrat-run strongholds that they need to go, oh, your policies suck, and we end up paying the price every single time for it. Somebody who won't, Nike founder Phil Knight, he donated $1 million to Drazan earlier this month, and when he was questioned how he could support an anti-abortion candidate, as the founder of Nike, he said, Nike has good leadership. They make choices, whatever they want, but I think I'm more conservative than Nike. Okay, that's fantastic. They have good leaders and they make choices. You get to make your own choices, and Knight has made another choice. He's like, look, what are the ways that I can help Republicans win? So support the Republican. That sounds pretty nice. Right. Oh, yeah, I'm going to support the candidate who's independent that will pull Democrat votes away. So he's given money to Betsy Johnson as well, just to make sure he's covered all of his bases. And who can blame him for wanting to change when Oregon looks like this?
That's a camping.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little campground.
Oh.
Oops.
Oh, she's actually talking. That's gotta be her.
Huh. Heat stroke.
Is she trying to help him or is she robbing him?
Yeah, okay, so she...
Both.
It's a birthday party.
Yes.
Taking a dump?
Right here in front of everybody.
Ugh.
Oh, that's a shock.
God bless you, man.
You know what? It's almost unbelievable that the store that person is taking a dump in has a sign that says for lease in front of it, and there's not an actual business. It's because when Democrats rule these places, everybody who lives there suffers. They pay more in taxes. They have fewer protection from the police because crime is rampant, and the police, no matter how well funded you make them, unless you make them a military state, cannot possibly take care of every single problem that these people create, right? Yeah. And it's no wonder that Kate Brown is the least popular governor in the country. She's the incumbent that's running, the incumbent governor in Oregon.
Well, we should have invested in tents.
Yeah, we really should have.
They weren't like doing that well for a while, and now they're like, guys, we're loaded.
I didn't know that you could just live wherever you wanted.
That guy who created that throw-up tent in Congo, he's making a killing.
Oh my goodness!
But you would, if you want to live in Portland, you would also need the laser guns as well.
Yes,
to make sure
yes, you do.
we're protected.
And the Ron Perlman gorillas.
The run and jump through the thing just to test it for you. Thanks, Ron.
Remember that tent in Congo
they
where
just
you
threw it
up and it just
yeah.
I don't know where they are, if they still make them. We should find some.
Bad movie. Well, look, we hope you guys have had fun. I hope this gives you some information on how Republicans are doing and the elections that are coming up. Get out and vote. If you live in these states, if you know anybody that lives in these states, get out and vote in those states. Make sure you vote legally. Make sure you take your ID. Even if they don't ask for it, just say, hey, I just want to make sure you know that I am who I say I am, and here's my ID, that I would need to rent or to check out a library book down the street, but not to vote. But I'm just giving it to you just in case. Make sure also that you share this show. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy doing this. Get this information out to all your friends. And
it's a silver lining. Like people want to go out and doom and gloom all the time.
Right.
What I'm hoping happens is you look at, for example, like Cuban Americans. They're the most reliably conservative voting bloc. Mm-hmm. Why? Because many of them are first generation or second generation. They fled communism, socialism. They lived it and they rejected it.
Right.
I'm hoping that there's, to a lesser degree, the equivalent here with COVID. We all saw, the mask was off the Democratic Party. And now you're seeing it even more with transitioning children. But I'm hoping now that you have enough Americans who say, well, we lived it. Boy, was that a mistake. And I think we might.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're right.
And I think what we're seeing too, and this is the final point, and we'll go out on this, Hillary Clinton's now out there saying that the elections are being stolen by Republican governors who are putting in place, because the Supreme Court is about to rule on something, saying that the governors of the state or the state legislatures, if there's a problem with their slate of electors, they can handle that at the state level. They can remedy that problem themselves before they send the electors to Washington to vote. And she's saying that that is stealing the election. So Hillary Clinton's out there saying that the election is going to be stolen before we actually have any elections. And she's talking about 2024. So she's just setting the stage that nobody can trust the election. So maybe having all of these laws that say we want to secure our elections in these states is probably a good idea. But either way, YouTube, piss off.